We're here with you on the Dishin with the Dietitian live. So let me know if you are here by giving me, oh, I got some thumbs up already. This is awesome. So good to see you guys. This is awesome. Hey, Boo, how are you? Good to have you aboard. All right, it's 7:00. So welcome everybody to Dishin with the Dietitian. Today's topic definitely has to do with the coronavirus, but this time a lot of you might be interested. And hi, Janice. It is so great to see you too. I don't know if any of you have been feeling a little isolated. So this is just a wonderful opportunity for us to reconnect and to check in and see how each other is doing, which I think is so very important at any time, but particularly at this time when we're all hunkering down at home and feeling a little isolated and maybe disconnected. So it's great to be able to connect with this and to see all of you. My daughter's fixing the camera as we go, so I hope that helps your view. Today's topic on Dishin with the Dietitian is dining out. I'm not sure if you're getting tired of cooking and you just think that you might need a break and you're not sure. Should you or shouldn't you order out? And is it safe to do so during this pandemic? That is the topic of tonight's live stream. So welcome. Hi, Richard. How are you? Great to have you aboard. Definitely give me the thumbs up button to let me know you're here, or write in hello and any questions that you may have, because that's what tonight is all about. What makes me in a position to be able to do this with you? For those of you who are new to my channel, hi, Steinler Consulting. Great to have you aboard. Let me introduce myself. My name is Debbie. I'm Debbie Kravitsky. I've been a registered dietitian for over 30 years. Currently, I'm a clinical dietitian at the Massachusetts General Hospital Cardiovascular Disease Prevention Center. I have a private practice. I consult with many corporations. I have contributed to many publications, including to a book written alongside cardiologists from Mass General. I've contributed to a chapter in that book called Facing Heart Disease. I've also appeared in national publications such as Harper's Bazaar, Family Circle magazine, and I have appeared in television. It gives me my greatest pleasure to be able to help you to reach your dietary goals by providing you with current, accurate, evidence-based nutrition information. Together, we will shop, we will cook, and I will navigate the way. So let's get started. Should you or shouldn't you? Absolutely, yes. I think that it's great to support local companies. I think that you just want to use the same common sense practices that you would do when ordering from a supermarket. I want you to include now. I want you to realize that the good news here is that the coronavirus does not live or multiply. It can't spread on food. That is great. It needs a live host in order to be able to multiply and to survive. And it needs transmission. It's picture this. I think the more you know, the better it is. And as many of you know, I am a visual learner. I have to see it in order to get it. So to better understand the coronavirus, you want to picture a round ball, like a tennis ball, with spikes coming off of it. And different viruses have different shaped spikes that will attach to different things. So some viruses have spikes that go right to your nose and attach there, and that gives you a cold. Other viruses, like this one, will go to your lungs. And that's the issue. And it doesn't have wings, it doesn't have feet, doesn't have legs. So it needs you to be able to give it easy access. So anytime you touch your face or you rub your eyes, you're giving it easy access, and it will go right to your lungs. And there it will multiply. It will photocopy itself, and it will diminish the cells in your lungs. And that's why people look very common. You will hear that one of the complaints when somebody gets sick is they have shortness of breath, difficulty breathing. And that's why they get put on these ventilators to help them breathe, because of this coronavirus. So the one constant that I can tell you, I don't know if you've been following the news, but the more you learn, the more we realize we really don't have a handle on this thing. We're getting there. We're progressing for sure. But it was thought that antibodies, that once somebody was sick with coronavirus, they tested positive, they had it, that they then developed antibodies that were thought that hopefully would protect them. But it turns out that perhaps these antibodies might have a certain shelf life, only last a certain amount of time, because in China we're seeing a resurgence, and people who had it previously are now getting it again. Yet when we give people who are sick, they were giving some patients who were sick the plasma or the blood from people who had just recovered from coronavirus, so those antibodies were fresh. They actually have done better. So perhaps there's a certain shelf life, and we're learning, and that's why it's going to take a little while for us to develop, I think, an effective vaccine and effective medication. But we'll see. We'll watch and we'll wait and we'll learn. But for now, it doesn't hurt to be prudent. That's what my advice is. You're more likely, this is a disease of transmission through your respiratory tract, so you're more likely to get it from the delivery person or from the person standing next to you than you are from the food itself. That's important to know. It can't grow and multiply in food. So I really want you to support local restaurants, because they're taking a great hit during this time, as their in-house dining has been shut down. But definitely be prudent. So I would clearly, if it's being delivered, if you're getting food delivered to your house, have them leave it outside, let that delivery person leave, minimum contact with the people. That's why we're hunkering down. That's why we're all in quarantine. If you're going to pick it up, if they can leave it curbside, anything that you can do to minimize that connection. If you can order online, I think that's a great idea. Pay online with a credit card. Any step that you can minimize that kind of contact, I totally recommend. But I love going out to eat, so I love having a break now, because I've been cooking. I don't know about you guys, but I've been cooking more than ever. So it's wonderful to have that break and to support your local restaurants to keep them alive particularly during this time. Definitely, when something comes, you take it out. I would wipe down the container if possible, and I would take it out and put it into your own dishes or your own containers, and then eat off of that. When you take something out of a container, I would wash your hands. It's all about hand washing. This is just good hygiene anyway. So things that you would have done before, it's just making you much more aware and more prudent now. So wash your hands thoroughly. Do that 20-second wash, where it's all about lather. The more lather you have, the more soap. It doesn't have to be an expensive soap, but the more soap you have, the better it will, more effective you will be at killing this virus. And warm water, hot water will kill the virus. So wash it thoroughly. Remember, when you're washing your hands, you're washing the front, you're washing here, you're trying to get under your nails, you're washing inside your palm and through here, and don't forget, wash both sides of your thumb. 20 seconds to wash your hands, and then rinse thoroughly and dry with a clean cloth or napkin or paper towel, and then you can eat your meal. Afterwards, when you clear everything off, I would wash my hands again. This is all about hand washing, and make sure, and good hygiene, and make sure that you put some lotion on your hands, because you want to make sure that you don't get any nooks and cracks in your skin. That's where a virus can get in. So you keep your skin is another layer of protection for you. So you want to make sure that you take good care of it. You also want to make sure that your food is warm. Warm food, it's thought right now, it's understood that it should kill the virus. So if you get a hot dish, it doesn't hurt to put it in the microwave for a few seconds, or to put it in your oven for a few seconds. If you can heat it to 149 degrees, it's already cooked. So if you're heating it to 149 degrees, it's thought that's high enough that you will kill the virus. It's also interesting. It's also interesting to know just how long this virus lasts. So it's thought on the harder the surface, the longer it's going to last. So on something like plastic or stainless steel, it's thought it can last up to 3 days. On something like the paper bag, it won't last as long. On plastic, on cardboard, it won't last longer than 24 hours. So make sure that you understand that, and know that that even if someone has coughed on that food, hopefully not, but if they have coronavirus and they're preparing your food and yet they don't realize that they have it, you're still not, the likelihood of you getting it, it's not out of the realm of possibility, but the chance of you getting coronavirus from that worker is very low, because it can't be transmitted. It's not that it can't be, but it's unlikely that you would get it from food. They have found, having said all of this, they have found in stool samples coronavirus. So it is possible that you could. It's just we haven't seen it. So that's where we are today. So I would definitely support your restaurant. I would definitely take things out of the container. I would wash my hands, wash the surface, and wash the surface again. Any questions or comments, definitely make sure that you add this in, that you type it in, because I'm going to keep going, but I want you to make sure that you get your questions answered as well. And that I'm hoping that this is exactly what you were hoping this segment to be. I'm also happy to go in any direction that you want and to answer any coronavirus questions that you have, or any questions that you have about nutrition. But thanks. I see a couple of thumbs up, and I'm totally loving that. This is awesome. Make sure that you remember that you also want to keep your food safe. You don't want a foodborne illness, and you don't want to have such a narrow focus on this coronavirus that you don't broaden the scope. You want to make sure that you boost immunity and that you eat foods that will support your immune system, which will help you to fight infection. So I definitely want you to order those vegetables, order a salad in the restaurant. Remember, it's not going to be on the food. So order these things. They are terrific to include. Eat the rainbow. Fill half your plate with fruit and vegetables.
I have a question.
Yes.
When you say eat things that are going to boost your immunity, does that include things like wellness shots, like a turmeric boosting wellness shot or a ginger shot?
Not necessarily. These are good for GI issues, these are good for GI issues, turmeric and ginger. But there's been no study to show that any one nutrient will help you to fight coronavirus. So it's I'm so glad you're here. These are great points. And let me know if any of you are having any questions. I love it. And make sure that you watch portion size, because weight is an independent risk factor for all chronic disease. So set up your plate, half your plate filled with vegetables. These are the non-starchy vegetables that I'm talking about, the vegetables that have a lot of water and fiber. So see if they have at the restaurant: broccoli, asparagus, green beans. Look at all the water and the fiber in spinach, tomato, lettuce, cucumber, onions, celery, cabbage, Brussels sprouts, snow peas, sugar snap peas. All of these vegetables and more will be unlimited. And this is on the menu of most every restaurant. Isn't turmeric anti-inflammatory? Yes, Janice, it is. It's just not there's been no studies to show it in connection. So it's great to include turmeric. And if you do include turmeric, make sure that you also include pepper, because pepper will enhance the absorption of turmeric. But understand that there's no one magic bullet here that I can say, take a turmeric shot or take a turmeric supplement and now you won't get coronavirus. It just isn't so. It's really looking at the entire picture, at your whole pattern of eating. And that's why you want to eat the rainbow, because different color fruit and different color vegetables will give you different antioxidants that are protective. But cook with different spices like turmeric, because all of these, like ginger, because all of these will also help to boost immunity. But if you're having something with turmeric and then you're having a Twinkie, then I can't tell you that that's the way to go. So you really have to look at somebody's whole pattern of eating. That's what's going to boost immunity. And remember also, this is not about perfection. You don't have to be perfect, but this is about most of the time. Find what you can do to make better choices, and find choices that are sustainable. That's what we're looking for. I'm looking for consistency, and that's how you're going to get to your goals. That's how you're going to boost immunity. But fill half your plate with vegetables. Have the size of your fist, at least. You can have more, but at least for lean protein like fish or chicken or turkey, or complemented protein, and also a whole grain or high fiber starch. It's also interesting when you look at different restaurants, particularly at this time, who really want you to support them at this time, understandably so. And so what they're willing to do. I've talked to a lot of people who said, oh my gosh, I've been getting these family style meals. A lot of restaurants are finding that family style meals are the way to go. I think it's a great option because whether you live alone or you have other people in your house, if you live alone, you'll just put it in the fridge and you'll keep rotating the meal, which would save you many more days ahead, which is terrific. And if you're with other people, then it's a great option for you. So I think it's great. But what's interesting is what they're offering many restaurants with it. Some restaurants are throwing in cookies. Some people told me that they ordered a family style meal and it came with a loaf of Italian bread. And they've been eating whole wheat bread, but they started to eat the Italian bread because that was free. But don't do it. Remember, you're not the disposal. You have a disposal, or put it in the freezer. I'd rather you continue with your healthy habits of whole grains and high fiber. There is a one restaurant, I got a total charge out of this. They said they thought about what would be a good hook to get somebody into their restaurant to order from their restaurant. And they thought, what's the one thing that nobody can really find these days? Toilet paper. So they went and they ordered a large stock of toilet paper. And now when you order and you spend a certain amount, free with your takeout dinner comes a roll of toilet paper. Did you ever think you'd see the day? That's unbelievable to me. There's also many restaurants in Boston which offer some great things. Hooked Fish Shop in Somerville. I don't know if you know Hooked Fish Shop, but they are connected with a delivery service called Evergreen Delivery. Also, many places are offering free delivery today. And they have fresh fish that you can get, flash frozen, ready to be cooked. And it comes in a cold freezer bag with an ice pack. That's pretty amazing. And they'll send you a text that it has been delivered to your home. That is pretty terrific. You need to order by 4:00. They have Tuesday, Wednesday, and Friday is delivery days. You have to order by 4:00 the evening before to ensure next day delivery. And if you get it, you put it in your fridge, you need to eat it within 3 to 5 days. If you put it in your freezer, it will last for months. That's awesome. So for those of you who tell me, and many have, that they used to eat fish a lot or a lot more often, but they're not now because they don't want to go out to the grocery store, and I totally get it. Hooked Fish Shop. You can Google them. They're in Somerville, and it's a great way. It was not inexpensive when I took a look at their website, I have to tell you, but it's a great way to get fish at a time when you might not otherwise. And I can't say enough about fish. The omega-3, the healthy oil in fish, is also anti-inflammatory, and that's just what you're looking for. When you're dining out, you definitely want to stay healthy. And if weight is an issue, if you follow the fat, you're going to follow the calories. If you're a volume eater like myself, here is your visual. When you see it, you get it. This tells the whole story. Let me know if you can see this, if this is coming up in your screen. Let me know if you can see it. The equivalent of these two shoestring French fries in terms of fat calories is the same as the 2 large baked potato. Reds keeps emailing me with the same type of info. Oh, good, Janice. So yeah, support them and make tweaks to the menu, definitely when you need it. So that's incredible. Now, nobody stops at the 2 little short shoestring potatoes, and the takeaway here is, let me be very clear when I show you the takeaway, that I had a patient who said to me, he was very well educated actually, and he said, I said, how are you doing? He said, not very well at all. I said, oh, why? He said, well, I'm not only not losing weight, I'm actually gaining weight. I said, well, so what are you doing? He said, I'm doing just what you said. I'm going out to Morton's. I'm getting the 2 large baked potatoes. So that is not the takeaway here of this picture. The takeaway is nobody stops at the 2 shoestring potatoes. You're going to keep going. But if you had just half of this large baked potato, that should be enough. And always ask, because you can't ask enough questions. Ask them, how are they baking that potato? Are they salting the outside? Are they buttering the outside? So you need to ask, walk these people through every step of the way so that you get exactly what it is that you want and you get what you think you're getting. So ask, because many people will add a salt. Ruth Chris, the steakhouse in Boston, adds a pat of butter to their steaks before sending it out to you. So make sure you don't want that to happen. Panera has been known to salt their salads. And restaurants love to use salt. Why? Because salt makes you thirsty. And the more you eat, the more you drink. And nowadays, in Massachusetts, Governor Baker has said that now they can have, as part of the takeout menu, you could order alcohol. So be mindful of the alcohol. Let's talk about alcohol. Alcohol lowers your blood sugar. You need to eat when you drink. Alcohol raises the kind of fat that contributes to heart disease called triglycerides. Triglycerides are a predictor for a future coronary event. Alcohol will raise blood pressure, puts tremendous stress on your heart. And enough alcohol, there goes your mindfulness right out the window, and your judgment may not be at its best. Alcohol also can interfere with certain medications. So your guidelines, no more than, if you have heart disease, no more than one alcoholic beverage a day for a woman. This is by the American Heart Association, actually for everybody. No more than one alcoholic beverage a day for a woman, no more than 2 for a man. If you have heart disease, please don't have those alcoholic beverages consecutively, because it'll be too much stress on your heart. Have one, have water, and then you can have the second. So what's a beverage? It's 4 to 5 ounces of wine, 1.5 ounces straight alcohol, 12 ounces of beer. The calories we drink, we don't get the same satisfaction as we do from the chew, which means we don't recognize we ate them. Red Lobster, a restaurant chain, has a margarita, 891 calories. That's a lot of calories. And if you drink it and you don't think you had anything, that's pretty stunning. Now, you wouldn't sip a quarter pounder with cheese through a straw. Doesn't that sound vile? But if you went to Starbucks, clearly they didn't hire me, and you ordered their cafe mocha, you might as well have done the same thing. Now, if you're at Starbucks and you get their Java chip frappuccino, ready for this one? It's the equivalent of going to McDonald's, ordering a cup of coffee. Take your cup of coffee and put 11 creamers and 29 packets of sugar in it, because you just drank the same thing. So my advice is skip the whip. If you're going through a Starbucks, through the drive-through, make sure that you get coffee to be just coffee. You can put skim milk in it, and if you want to, you can put an artificial sweetener. But skip the whip, because you won't realize that you drank this stuff, and it's going to add up fast. It's incredible. We do have a restaurant law in Massachusetts. 20 or more restaurants in the chain, they have to, by law, at point of service, provide you with the nutrition breakdown of that menu item. So these are examples of the restaurant law. You can see that these menus will have numbers by them, and they will tell you what the calories are, the carbohydrates, the sodium, and so on. And it might shock you, and I hope it does. But this is where you want to make sure that you add your knowledge of nutrition. I've consulted for McDonald's, so I know their menu pretty well. And I can tell you that when you look at their menu, their brochure for oatmeal, you're going to find that their oatmeal has saturated fat. Now, oatmeal does not contain saturated fat. Oatmeal's a grain. So why does theirs? Because they add cream to it. So you need to say to them, I'd love your oatmeal. Please make it with milk instead of with cream, skim milk instead of with cream. And now you're good to go. And then, of course, watch the toppings. My guess is, although I haven't looked, that if McDonald's is doing it, maybe check out Starbucks and Dunkin', that maybe they're all doing the same. So watch that. The restaurant law in Massachusetts has two notes. One, it's not regulated. And so there's a group called Nutrition for Science and the Public Interest. They went around to local restaurants, they ordered items off their menu, and they brought it to their independent lab. They wanted to see what were the restaurants reporting to be the nutrition breakdown versus what they found to be the case in the lab. And lo and behold, surprise, surprise, these restaurants are severely underreporting what's in their menu items. However, It's more information than we ever had. If you take a look at one of these and you see, oh my gosh, I didn't realize it was so bad. It's probably a lot worse, but it still gets you to the same bottom line that it wasn't a good choice. It also doesn't include condiments. So things like a slice of cheese on your sandwich, dressing on your salad, that salt on the salad from Panera, the swish swish of whipped cream if you're ordering a piece of cheesecake from Cheesecake Factory. That is not factored in. So if you take a look at the breakdown of the cheesecake from Cheesecake Factory and you say, oh my gosh, and this is going to be your dessert at the end of the meal, and you now have to think twice, understand that the swish swish of whipped cream, that that is not factored in. That's going to be extra, and you need to take a look at that. So definitely do. It's stunning, I think, when you see what's in some of these foods. So I'll let you definitely do that as you're going around. Never go to the restaurant hungry, because you're going to order, or never order things when you're hungry. Make sure you have a little bit of food in your belly, because you might order things ahead. But definitely use the menu, utilize it, because the one plus here is that you're pre-planning your meals, and you get to pre-plan in advance, so you're not swayed by environmental factors in the restaurant that might have triggered you to order a different way than you had originally thought. But let me just share with you what's in some of the foods and some of the local restaurants, because maybe you might be surprised. Now, I don't know about you guys, but when I was growing up, the only if I liked it, I ate it. I never gave nutrition a thought, ever. So now I have to go back and say, thank God I'm alive, and look back at what was in some of the foods. When McDonald's came out with their Big Mac, I don't know about any of you, their fries, their shake, ding, ding, ding. I loved it. I loved every bit of it. So now I go back and I say, what the heck was in that shake? In that McDonald's shake, just so you know, is 1,160 calories. Those calories include 16 grams of saturated fat, which is way more than anybody needs, and 42 teaspoons of sugar. Also, I want you to think about, how are they making this food? Think about, because this is where most of your salt is going to come from. Do you think McDonald's is scooping the ice cream and making me a fresh shake every time somebody orders? I've got to tell you, no. Now, good luck. Good thing for McDonald's, 3/4 of their menu, of their business anyway, was done in the drive-through. So criteria for inclusion on their menu, you have to be able to take the order, prep the meal, bag it, serve it in under a minute. Otherwise, they have a line down the street, and that's a problem. So this is an instant mix for the shake. Same thing if you're going to you're ordering from Starbucks and you're getting their hot chocolate or any drink like that. Think about, how did they make it? Is it a soup? A soup, they're not making a broth homemade. They're starting with a base loaded with salt. So think about, soup as an order from a restaurant may not be a great choice, particularly if you have hypertension, because it's going to be loaded with salt. That salt will act like a sponge and make your heart have to work that much harder and increase your risk for stroke, which nobody is looking for. So soup, I would not recommend from any restaurant anywhere. Clearly, I'm going to get backlash here, but here we go. The triple chocolate milkshake from McDonald's. 140 is low sodium. I've told my patients with hypertension you can go up to 200, but 510 milligrams of sodium in my ice cream shake. Places that you wouldn't think of. Think about, is this a real mashed potato, or is it coming from an instant mix? So go to restaurants that you know, that you have a relationship with, that you trust their food. But instead now, if I was to go to McDonald's, I'd get their reduced fat vanilla ice cream cone. It's a much better choice, lower in salt, lower in sugar, and almost over 1,000 fewer calories than the shake. So be mindful of that. All right, let me just tell you a few things, and then I'm going to take any questions you have. People order. Oh, Susan, I'm so glad. You're welcome. I'm glad you're enjoying this. Many people get turkey burgers out. They feel it's much better than getting the hamburger, as you're trying to limit your intake of red meat. If you were, however, to buy just ground turkey in a supermarket, it's going to include skin, tendons, who knows what. So when you go to Ruby Tuesdays, for example, then you get their Ruby Tuesday Bella Turkey Burger. This is just the burger. It's not the special sauce. It's not the fries, just the burger. is 1,145 calories and 71 grams of fat. You have access to this information because it's part of the restaurant law. So know that that means that this is just ground turkey. If you go to the supermarket, you want to buy ground turkey 93 to 99% lean. If it doesn't say it, it just isn't. Also, people talk about Mexican food. Think about how Mexican food is, the ingredients in Mexican food in a restaurant. Canned beans, instant this, salt, salt, salt. Not to mention if you're getting white rice or a flour tortilla, that's like sugar. So if you were to go to Chipotle and you get their chicken burrito, their Mexican grilled chicken burrito, while it might sound like a healthier choice, for 1,179 calories, and you ready for this? 2,656 milligrams of sodium? I don't think so. That's more than a day's worth, no matter whether you have hypertension or not. If you don't have hypertension, you're staying at 2,300. This is 2,656, and you haven't had anything else to eat. So watch Mexican food. I'm just saying. Many people say to me, I love me an Italian sub. And at this time when I'm feeling stressed, hi, Judy, how are you? I'm so glad you're enjoying this. You're welcome. Thank you for joining me. And people say to me, I love me an Italian sub. I'm feeling stressed. I'm a stress eater. I'm going to get what comforts me, and that's what comforts me. But how comforting is this going to be when you swallow? Because, ready? Think about what's in an Italian sub. Not only is it high in saturated fat that's going to clog your arteries, and if you look at the cold cuts, you can see that white marbling through. That's saturated fat. That's going to clog your arteries right then and there. It's actually going to cause, just so you know, I just want you to know so you can make a better choice, is that it's going to right then and there upon digestion. You won't need to wait months for the blood test. It's going to cause the walls of your arteries to stiffen. It's going to put more pressure on your heart to pump through a stiffer opening, and that right then and there is going to increase your risk for heart disease. So a group of reporters from ABC, they took this to task. They had somebody listen to the flow of blood through their arteries. They had clean pores. They had no sign of heart disease. So these reporters went to 3 of the local fast food restaurants. They went to Pizzeria Uno, they went to Cheesecake Factory, and they went to Applebee's. They ordered what they thought might be the most offensive items on the menu, things like a cheeseburger quesadilla, chocolate chip brownie sundae. Right then and there upon digestion, you don't need to wait months for the blood test. They had somebody again listen to the flow of blood through their arteries. This time, the blood had a hard time getting through the stiffer opening. It sounded as though they had heart disease. So sort of one meal can do it. So while we're so focused on the coronavirus, which we absolutely need to be, we can't have such a narrow focus that we don't ignore our heart health and the foods that will boost immunity or foods that will diminish that capacity for good health. Italian sub, if you want to try to guess at home how many calories, guess how much salt would be in an Italian sub. I'll give you a second to think about it. Ready? It's 1,528 calories. And you're ready? I'm telling you to stay at 2,300 if you don't have hypertension, 1,500 if you do have hypertension. This one sub, get out the defibrillator, 4,604 milligrams of sodium. That is beyond. But even more beyond is Chili's Awesome Blossom. So if you remember, Outback had the bloomin' onion. Chili's came out with their Awesome Blossom. Their appetizer, 6,360 milligrams of sodium. This is your appetizer, not to mention 203 grams of fat. I want you to eat wisely. Get your fish grilled, or broiled, or sauteed, or raw. Have your chicken, same thing, grilled or baked or broiled. And get your veggies steamed with nothing on it. You can't be clear enough. You're walking when you're calling this order in. You want to make sure that when you pick it up and then you get home, that you get exactly what you want. So ask for things to be steamed. You can go to almost any restaurant and you can just make modifications. I asked my husband once, would you say, I don't know, 8 out of 10 times I tweak the menu? And he said, seriously, Deb, I'd say 12 out of 10. But you want to make sure that you have the experience you have. I once ordered steamed broccoli. I don't know what propelled the chef to put something on it, but they did. I learned my lesson, definitely sent it back. But now I say steamed whatever, nothing on it. You can go to the restaurant, 2 of you, or order from a takeout. two of you and have totally different experiences depending on what you order. So it really makes a big difference. Also, keep in mind that things like vanilla bean, they're not neutral. If it's in a vanilla bean culotta, I don't want to feel like I picked on Starbucks at Dunkin' Donuts. It's 860 calories and 43 teaspoons of sugar. People also feel like if they got salad, they're good to go. It gave them the green light. But it depends on what's in that salad. So just so you know, California Pizza Kitchen offers a Waldorf grilled chicken salad with blue cheese dressing. And so you might think, yeah, I know the blue cheese dressing isn't perfect, but I hear grilled chicken. It's a salad. I'm good. Well, for 1,570 calories and 2,082 milligrams of sodium, how good are you? Let your salad be a salad with all kinds of vegetables. Eat the rainbow and whatever grilled chicken you want. Have the dressing on, it'll come anyway now on the side, most likely, which is a good thing for you so you can control how much, or maybe you can use your own dressing. So there are advantages here because you can take whatever you're getting and then use and supplement what you have at home. And that's a plus. I have to tell you, I do that all the time anyway. So be mindful of that. So I would say to you, definitely order out, but use your good judgment when you're ordering. Order foods that will help you to boost immunity, but will help. And the way you know that is by having foods that will support your overall health. I hope this has helped you. Definitely, it's been such a thrill to see all of you here on the live stream. I'm just loving it. It's been such a thrill. And I hope you're all staying safe and that you're all doing well. And I want to wish you a good night. Again, if you have not yet done so, please consider hitting the subscribe button. The subscribe button, I'm trying to get to 1,000 subscribers so that I can have more mobility and freedom when doing a live stream. YouTube is requiring me to get to 1,000 subscribers. So that's why I would love it if you could. That would help me to continue to do this with all of you. And if there are things that you would like me to do a live stream on, you may write so in the comment button. And also on Facebook, there is a Dishin with the Dietitian page, and you could also message me there. Oh, say thank you, Dear Path Farms. And Richard, this has been very helpful. And Judy, all of you guys, and Susan, this is so great. Richard, is fat-free Cool Whip heart healthy? You know, now it is. I love that. So I'm happy to answer any questions. So Cool Whip for years, believe it or not, was made with trans fat, the worst. But when they banned trans fats, Cool Whip no longer contains trans fat. So the fat-free Cool Whip is totally fine to use. You also can use the aerosol light whipped cream. That also fits the bill. So I hope that helps you, Richard. And you could combine that with berries, and that would be yummy. That'd be a delicious dessert at the end of a takeout meal. Would be wonderful. Any other questions? I'm happy to answer you. I'm thrilled you're here. I love it. You're welcome, Richard. I love that you guys are here on the live stream. It really means the world to me. And continue to have heart healthy practices. I don't want to keep you too long, but have a great night, everybody. And Janice, thank you so much. Hello to your colleagues. I will definitely send your regards along, as we are all doing telehealth and we're all trying to stay safe. If you can get out for a walk, definitely do so, but practice safe, the social distancing, and wear a mask for sure. All right, everybody, have a great night. It's been a thrill to have you on, and I look forward to seeing you in 2 weeks. Take care.